Yes, Matla.
Greetings, everyone, to our webinar. You are welcome. Our topic for today is diversity and inclusion, building equitable work environments. My name is Matla Komaitzile. I am from Botswana, and I'm delighted to be your moderator for today's session. I am also a part of the WomenAscension team as part of the community outreach team in WomenAscension. And before going any further, I'll just take some time to introduce WomenAscension. So WomenAscension is a nonprofit organization. We work towards the betterment of the society through outlining and publicizing not just female issues, but targeting SDGs as well, together with possible solutions on how to tackle it by giving time and knowledge. So the primary objective of WomenAscension is to empower all women, regardless of their social, economic, ethnic, and religious backgrounds, to the extent that they can adequately provide them for themselves and to continue the change sustainably through these women in other lives as well. So WomenAscension is currently focusing on various projects that are specifically aimed at women empowerment. Not only that, we are collaborating with different organizations to help women in different causes and to support them with mentors and any other expertise that they might need. So that is a little brief overview of WomenAscension. And today, like I have mentioned, we'll be having our webinar. That is one of the webinars that is hosted by WomenAscension. The founder and the president of WomenAscension is also in our midst, Miss Maheen Amjad, who is also involved in various projects to help globally. So in our discussion today, we'll be exploring the critical importance of diversity and inclusion in creating fair and inclusive work environments. We'll be examining the impact of biases and stereotypes on workplace dynamics, and also learn effective strategies for fostering diversity and inclusion within organization. We aim to identify in this webinar the essential elements for building equitable work environments and also discussing the best practices for promoting diversity and inclusion at all levels of an organization. So I believe that we will receive actionable steps as well that you can implement in your respective workplaces. So without wasting any further time, I will be welcoming our speakers. We have our respected speakers or guest speakers for the day. I would firstly welcome Miss Snežana Bošković. I really hope I'm pronouncing that well, who is one of the part of the board of advisors and as she's also a mentor in WomenAscension as well. So I'll just welcome her and give her the floor.
Thank you very much, Matla. You pronounced my name very well. Thank you. And thank you again, Maheen and WomenAscension, for inviting me today to be present here today, but not just to be present, but only to say something that I believe will inspire those who are listening us today. And I'm not here to give you lectures on diversity and inclusion because you all know what are the definition of those. But when I was preparing for this webinar, I was thinking about some key points that can maybe be rethought and some things that we should maybe pay our attention more than some others. Those will be the topics that all of you who are listening can contact me as well. So this is not only the chance for all of you to hear something new, some insights, to get some insights or some strategies, but also to have us on board for the processes that have to be implemented in practice. So I will start with diversity. Yes, with a kind of definition, because it's somehow strange that we all know what is it. And when we think about diversity, usually we talk about diversity in races, in genders, in ages, but I will say also in different personalities and characters. And if we talk about inclusiveness at the workplace, I guess that we should think about all these factors within the companies, within the organizations, etc. There are many ways to make an inclusive working environment, but before we do it, because there are several procedures, there are some methods, there is a science, I would say, in human resources management that can guide some organization to be more inclusive for all employees inside. But first of all, I would like to speak a little bit about the leaders, the policymakers, the persons who own the companies and the organizations, who lead the organization, because I think that somehow it all goes with them. So as we used to say that everything goes from the head, so if there is a kind of good inclusiveness policy within organization, but if it is not grounded and if it is not something that comes from the management and from the owners of the organization, well, I would doubt for how long this procedure is going to last within the organization. So we all know that people who are feeling respected at work, who are seen and heard, will work better, that their performance will be better, and also they will make better atmosphere within the team that they are working with. Also, the teams that are structured by different diverse personalities, for a long term, they will all make better decisions. There will be more inspiring ideas. They will make better results. But I would say that we all know this. So it's not anything that is secret. So we can all read this in many materials and books, and let's say that this is somehow available as information for all of us. But why then we again and again talk about exclusivity and people feeling uninvolved and people feeling bad in the workplace? So that is actually the question for all of us. Also, if we are talking about the women in business, in jobs, in organizations, again and again, we come to the question of why are we being less paid than men? Why are we having more obstacles towards improvements and getting better positions and getting up to the upper management? So every day, I think, and with years, we face with all those problems again and again. And I would say that there are some changes, but still we need to talk about it. But not only talk about it, I would say that we should somehow concentrate, I mean, the professionals and the experts in this area should somehow concentrate and pay attention to the leaders, to people who lead the teams, people who lead the organization, and try to make a safe environment for them to challenge their own core beliefs, values, because I think everything goes from there. So if there is inclusiveness policy within some organization, and we have leaders or a top leader who is struggling with, let's say, equality about men and women, I doubt that this procedure is going to be implemented within organization. So usually we all know what we have to have from human resource processes, and leaders engage professionals to make that in place. But then we again in practice have employees who are kind of struggling with the thing that they are not seen, that they cannot be promoted, that they face with prioritizing somebody else when it comes to let's say improvements, and when it comes to salaries and bonuses and stuff like that. So I think that somehow is the question is really internally based, and in psychology and in psychotherapy, we talk about certain introacts that we carry with us for all our life. Those are certain stories that we believe in, and usually it is something deeply based within our culture, families, and the place of earth where we live. So I think that we should work more with leaders, one-to-one work, and also in group work, to work with them, to challenge their beliefs and their values, and try to think to see what is in the core, what is in the ground. And there should be kind of a long-term work with them to support them, to be support to employees, but also to challenge personal obstacles that are preventing them to, let's say, be the best support to their employees. So I would maybe stop here. I don't want to get more key points here. So this would be something that I would like to talk about today, or maybe to, in a way, inspire others to share what do you think about what I already said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Snežana, for that insightful sharing. It's quite wonderful what you spoke on. You spoke of the importance of inclusive policies and how it's important that, you know, we engage leaders, we challenge the beliefs and the stereotypes that we often find. I can attest to that as well, especially being in Africa. There are a lot of cultures as well as stereotypes that are attached to women or that are connotated to women that actually prohibit or actually limit the inclusivity of women in various organizations or positions of power, whether it is in the corporate world or in politics or in any form of leadership. So thank you so much for that. I will now call upon Miss Afreen, who will also be sharing her insight into the topic of the day. She is a program manager at Amal Academy. So I welcome you to the floor.
Thank you, Matla, very much. And great topic. And I really appreciate how Snežana added her valuable insight and shared some great words on it. So nothing indifferent, which I'm going to speak about, probably building up on what Snežana already added. So it's very important to understand the importance of diversity and inclusion in creating equitable work environment, and probably aiming towards a sustainable and thriving dynamic workplace. When we talk about by bringing together individuals from varied backgrounds, perspectives, and experiences, organizations can like enhance creativity and innovation as diverse are more likely to generate unique ideas and solutions. Inclusion at the same time is playing a very significant role in employee performance satisfaction. At the same time, it's also cultivating the sense of belonging and respect, which leads to higher engagement and also reduce turnover for that matter. Um, if we see across in our community, right from childhood, when a child is admitted to a school at kindergarten level, we hear these terms that this inclusive classroom and we practice inclusivity. So it's all about maintaining that check and balance throughout. Biases and those stereotypes can really, really have a profound negative impact. And it is needed to be embedded, integrated right from childhood, because we are the ones who are not only shaping our young ones, are also empowering the youth at the same time. So I believe there are certain steps and there are certain uh, innovations which organizations and companies embed in their practices. One of the practice which Snežana also highlighted is about inclusive policy. Then simultaneously trainings and education at the same time conducted in organizations, where regular training sessions on diversity, inclusion, and unconscious bias for all employees is very integral at the same time. How about we talk about cultural competency as well? Uh, Educating employees at the same time about different cultures, different backgrounds, and perspectives to foster understanding and respect is equally important because when we say that we are welcoming and we are hospitable towards other cultures as well, then we need to create certain examples. We need to set up examples within our organization. There are recruitment drives that happen every, I would say, throughout the years, at least twice a year at least, in every organization. So we should use diverse recruitment channels to attract candidates from various backgrounds and implementing blind recruitment process, structured interviews to minimize biases hiring decisions. Uh, I've seen what great work WomenAscension is doing. One of an example by setting mentorship relationships, creating mentorship programs that pair employees diverse backgrounds with experienced mentors is one of the best practices I've creating sponsorship programs for that matter also helps to actively sponsor high potential employees from underrepresented, helping them advance in their careers. If I have to specifically talk about practices from my country, Pakistan, here I believe promoting inclusivity as being a woman myself, advocating on that topic is very crucial for that matter. So promoting inclusivity for women in Pakistan can involve implementing policies and practices that address gender-specific challenges while making sure at the same time that when we talk about a sustainable future, how are we integrating those SDGs, the principles of SDGs in our organization? Companies can start by offering robust maternity and paternity leave policies that support work-life balance and parental responsibilities equally. Um, I've seen that organizations, even in Pakistan, they do advocate for flexible work arrangements, and they are also, being flexible now to promote remote work options and flexible hours. This, in return, is enhancing and empowering women to manage their professional and personal lives effectively. So we should, as a team, get together and promote such platforms. probably investing in healthcare benefits that cater to women's health needs as well. So, all in all, creating that safe space and also being the role models of change ourselves and making sure that what we are preaching, we are the ones who are implementing and speaking about it and making sure that we are the ones incorporating. So, these policies, these eco-friendly initiatives, and energy efficient technologies that we talk about, reducing carbon footprints, all of that can actually foster a more equitable and environmentally responsible workplace for people, not only for men, especially for women, not in Pakistan, but everywhere. So I think I'll take a pause here and get back to you, Mata. You can further explain. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. That was quite insightful. You spoke of something that's very important that I believe we can take home as a lesson for everyone that is listening, that, we ought to also practice that which we preach. If we talk about inclusivity, we ought to also take a part in actually promoting it, not just in word, but in action as well. And at the beginning, you also mentioned education and training, which I believe is a very effective and a significant tool to increase awareness and understanding. I mean, programs that training programs, education programs, they actually raise awareness about unconscious biases, stereotypes, and discrimination that we often find in the workplace. I believe that also education helps to develop skills which equips individuals or marginalized groups with skills to interact respectively and effectively with one another. It also, ensures that policies that, like some of those that you have mentioned and that were mentioned earlier on, are also these kind of policies are promoted, because once leadership is trained, employees and employers are trained in inclusivity, then we can have better and more inclusive environments. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was insightful. I will now call upon our next speaker, Ms. Faiza Mir, who is a professor of international relations at the University of Balochistan. You're welcome.
I hope everybody can listen me.
Yes, we do.
Before starting, what is diversity? Let me share a little story about it. Once there was a king. He died. His son turned king, and he asked his courtiers, "Who were those intelligent people who used to guide my father? Since I'm new in the system, I don't know how to run the system." He was taken to the jungle, and there he met an old man. And he said that he asked, old man, can you guide me or give me some 2-3 points so that I can run my state very well? Cutting the story short, the Baba talked about it, and he said, go for strong defense. Number 2, development projects. Number 3, confidence building measures. The prince asked, if I have to drop one and choose two, which one to drop, which two to choose? So the the old man said, forget about defense, go for development projects and confidence building measures. I'm telling this because since I teach conflict management, conflict transformation, so diversity is very much close to me. The prince again asked the same question. If I have to drop two, and if I have to choose one. So the old man said, forget about defense, forget about development projects, the roads, the hotels, all these things. Go for confidence building measures, sense of belongingness, attachment, inclusiveness, acceptability, giving space to people, adaptability. To me, diversity is strength of any society. When states are developed or framed, the first pillar or prerequisite of a state is people or population. You know it very well. How can we think or demand millions of people to be alike? One thing can be same, few things can be same, but many characteristics can't be same. What to talk about inclusive environment at workplace? Diversity is highly essential for cultural change. People are moving from rural to urban areas. How can we expect, or the government or organization head forces someone not enter into a particular environment or a society or a city or organization when he or she fulfills all the requirement or the prerequisites to join that particular post? It reminds me of an Indian ad. There was a lady. He reaches up to office, and she was just going to her office, and it was on the second floor. When she reached there, she found that there was the name of another person, and she felt that, oh my God, I think I have been fired. Somebody asked, why don't you get down? When she got down, she saw that at the ground floor, her name was there on a tag at the door. Actually, she was pregnant. So the boss or the leader of that institute, he was of the opinion that why I should be giving her more pain when she can't go to the second floor, when the lift was also not working. When we talk about diversity, we talk about it is essential element for development. I consider development as natural. There are so many countries, clan, creed. So then how can we talk about the people should be the same in one environment? I think when we talk about diversity at workplace, I think leader responsibility, it is the essential one to create inclusive approach. I had been to many organizations training, and when we talk about conflict management at workplace, the very first thing comes, that is correct use of vocabulary. And I remember when we have some hard beliefs and values from our childhood, we have learned them, and when we grow up, we found that, oh my God, they are not acceptable in society, they are not fit, we are excluding few people. Then learning changes into de-learning. Then de-learning is not the final step. We move forward, and we have to go for relearning as well. It reminds me of my stay in IVLP as Chicago Public Radio, when the director station asked me. It was US foreign policy in South and Central Asia. And there were participants from India as well, from Bangladesh as well, from Sri Lanka as well. Keeping in mind India-Pakistan political, sensitive socio-political relations. It was, I remember, 20th June 2007. They asked, introduce yourself. I said, Faiza from Balochistan University, Pakistan. Trust me, that was my very first learning of inclusive approach. The director station said, Balochistan? You are Mari or Bukti? I said, I belong to none of the tribe. Then he asked, which part of Pakistan you belong to? I should have used the word I belong to Srinagar. Learning, de-learning, and relearning. Since I was in the period of learning, in a fraction of a second, I said, I belong to occupied Kashmir. And the Indians, they ran on me. Faiza, which part of Kashmir? Uh, then I understood that, oh, Faiza, you should have used the word I belong to Srinagar because I was representing my state. I should not be hurting somebody. We are, globally, we are global human beings. We are not here to talk about official environment. I have been the only female faculty member in International Relations Department for 12 years. I remember the workshop invitation used to come to me at the last. They had so many parties and functions, and the PN used to bring cake or piece of, biscuit or cup of coffee in my office. They didn't invite me in that particular, environment, so that better exclude her. I think when I talk about diversity strategies, so I think correct use of vocabulary and office code of conduct must be maintained. And frequent meetups, they are very necessary so that the grudges, the pains, the sorrows, or uncomfortable environment slowly and gradually will meet each other and they will be minused. Then gradual incentives or awards should be there. Right person for the right job. And I'm from that school of thought that there must be a critical analysis that who is lagging behind. If somebody is lagging behind, what is the reason? It is the domestic reason, it is the official reason, or it is the environment which are making he or she, especially she. Because I'm from Balochistan, and where the most of the population, they are not going to offices, and if they go, they are treated very differently. So I'm a flag bearer of inclusiveness. We call it Venus approach, WENESS. Uh, I remember I was there in Istanbul in Pak Afghan, conflicts via women of both the country. When somebody asked me why you are going there, I said, if we are not invited on a table, let's create our own table. I remember Dr. Adela A. Allen. She's a famous educationist who preferred culture in education a lot. She was of the opinion that we should acknowledge differences. We should greet differences until the differences don't exist anymore. I think it's for the introduction, it is enough.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Faiza, for that. That was very insightful. I believe that to those who were listening, it was a lot of lessons that we managed to pick. And, especially with the stories that she shared, we managed to learn quite a lot from that. I hope I'm not cutting you off.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. All right. So you have completed, right? Okay. Yes. So you managed you mentioned something very important. You said a very powerful line that inclusivity is an essential element of development, which I found quite powerful. And I believe that many who are listening were able to pick that as well, which is very true, that diversity and inclusion are very essential elements of development for so many reasons. They encourage innovation and creativity. There's also improved decision making when we are more inclusive. That means that diverse voices are heard, so there's better decision making. We have different viewpoints that help identify potential risks as well as opportunities, that, other groups, if we don't include others, then those kind of things might be overlooked. Not only that, when we look at it in the broader context, globally, it's also a significant tool in development in the aspect of economic growth as well. Studies have shown that diversity and inclusion actually can lead to greater economic growth. I mean, companies and economies that harness the full potential of their diverse populations, they actually tend to perform better financially. So it's in various ways, it is indeed an essential element of development. So thank you for that insightful sharing. So there are some questions that we have with us from our audience. But before that, I will open the floor for Ma'am Maheen, who is the founder and the president of WomenAscension, to have her say regarding the topic. Then from there, we will open up for the Q&A session.
Thank you, Matla. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Snežana, Afreen, and Miss Faiza has included all the topics which is a problem for us that we feel like that should be highlighted. The one thing I would like to add, just a few points, is that understand that when you're not bringing in the beauty of diversity and we are not inclusive by adapting the things which brings in people together, make them comfortable, you're not going to sustain for long. That society is not going to sustain for long. And moreover, in a very simple way, I have seen many organizations which is mainly dominated by masculines, all the male, but some of the organization I've seen which is very much dominated by feminine, or that's females. So we have our own problems leading that organization. They feel challenges. So the beauty of inclusivity is that feminine and masculine thinking, the pattern, should combine together to complete the work that we are working for. If you just focusing towards one gender, or you're focusing towards one culture, please know that it's going to get challenged by many aspects, not just internally, but externally as well. Like Ms. Faiza included, that how conflict rises with certain set of conversation. Like Ms. Afreen included, how workplace affects when it's come to practically involving ourselves, how Ms. Snežana said that, how strategies and policy making affects when certain areas not highlighted. So this is one thing. So understand that now world is changing. Now people are aware of their rights, and also they want to explain their existence by proving themselves what they got. So if we are not including different people in one organization and understanding their rights, is not going to create a vibe in which we are sustaining peace for a long term. So if you are moving towards quality in living, a peaceful life, a peaceful community around you, so you have to value diversity. You have to listen, you have to value the differences, you need to talk things out. And I feel like now, if the situation is chaotic for the regions, for our organizations, or maybe at the micro level, it's because we are missing inclusivity. We are missing the reasoning, we're missing the conversation. So this is what we need from you to bring on the table. Reasoning, conversation, the talk, which leads to solutions and we're practically implementing that. We are not waiting for another round of paper, which is going to be stamped, but genuinely we are working together to make this happen. Thank you, Matla, for this. I think we should move towards question and answer sessions because there are a lot of queries popping from people to people.
All right, thank you so much for that. There are some questions, like I mentioned, from the audience, and that would be directed to the panel. So there's a question here that we are talking about cultural hindrance and mindset, but still we are way behind to overcome such challenges rather. So how can we make it happen for real?
If it is okay with you, maybe I can start with trying to answering to this question. Yeah, so I think I'm going to disappoint you, Sunaina, because there is no recipe. Actually, it's a kind of a long-term transformation process. And sometimes maybe I can now just connect these two questions and I'll try to answer. It is still a challenge for a woman to prove on professional ground and managing her obligatory social responsibility. No matter how much awareness session we do, still it is a challenge here. So it's again a question that we women, we did a lot of things. We are constantly improving our education. As you said, we are attending various sessions and webinars and trying to connect with each other. But sometimes it's not everything up to us. So we did a lot of things. Now I think we should wider our zoom, do kind of a zoom out to our community, to a wider picture, and maybe try to think about the men who can be our representatives in kind of policy making bodies, for example. Also, why is it a long-term process? Because in the roots, there is a story about stereotypes and biases. I would say that Afreen was talking about it in the beginning. When we come to stereotypes and biases, it's a kind of an unconscious content that we all have, especially when we talk about organizations, the leaders and the team leaders and the policymakers. So I would now make a kind of a zoom out to the community, try to search for people who can be our representatives, our, let's say, allies, and try to focus the work more on individual leadership programs so we can educate leaders how to be more aware of these things and what to do with their, I would say, unconscious content that they are bringing with themselves into the working spaces. That's from me so far. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I don't know if any of the other panelists would like to take that as well, just to say something on it.
If I may add
Can I go
one
next?
thing. Can you hear me?
Yes, Afreen. Yes, Afreen. After Miss Afreen, welcome Miss
it-
Faiza.
I think since I belong to teaching profession and teachers, I mean, when we talk about stakeholders, so parents are also relevant, stakeholders in education. I think teachers can do wonders. Same go with media as well. If you you will second me, because when we want to laugh on certain things, media present a particular group that is known as Sikh, right? And if you want to, one day my students asked me, ma'am, what is this matter? They are from the Pathan community. It is a very strong community in Pakistan. That is a very subnational group. And they were asking me, ma'am, we are always, peons and guards or truck drivers in all the dramas and movies. For a fraction of a second, trust me, I was quiet. I couldn't have any answer. But for their, satisfaction, I said, since you are a very brave people, you are a brave community. That's why, media present this. But that was a very weak answer. What I think teachers have to produce inclusive approach. I believe teachers do not have any ethnic identity. Teachers should not present them as something, belonging to a particular sectarian group. Because when they are standing in front of a class, they are standing in front of 50 plus students. They are standing in front of very socio-political sensitive fabric of a society. Same go with parents. Parents should have to play their vital role and not negating a particular community. And when we talk about media, media's survival is dependent upon survival of the conflict. So I think there must be a state policy. So all the stakeholders should come together, sit on a table, and they must have. The other day, the students were asking me that how would you design that conflict management in class. So I was of the opinion the one is seen syllabus, given syllabus, the other is unseen syllabus or the hidden syllabus, what the teacher likes to deliver. So I think that is triangle, the parents, media, and the teachers. I don't know how you like it or not, but for leadership, I don't look upward. I don't look at the policymakers because for me, an individual breaking the barrier is also a leader for me.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Wonderfully answered. And I don't know if there's any
Miss
one
Afreen,
else would like
Miss Afreen would like to continue, please.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Maheen, and thank you, Mata. Summarizing the questions which were shared in the chat, I'll just give a very closer outlook onto it. Overcoming cultural hindrances and shifting mindset. I think that's what we need to address. We need to address that the change and the shift in the mindset is very, very crucial. And to address inclusivity, challenges require a concerted effort across multiple fronts. It's not that you do something and you are done with it. This is a cyclic process. And firstly, it starts from education and awareness campaigns. They are very vital to challenge and reshape the societal norms, the attitudes that perpetuate discrimination or exclusion. These efforts should emphasize the value of diversity and the benefits of inclusive practices for societal programs. Secondly, these policies should be made proactively, and the legislation must be implemented and enforced to protect the rights of especially marginalized. We don't have any subsequent or a targeted group talking about them, including women, including refugees, and ensuring equal opportunities and access to resources for all. It's like one and for all. And thirdly, we need to foster partnerships between government and civil society as well, and private sectors, which can amplify the efforts to create inclusive environments at the same time. By constantly working towards the goal from all fronts by prioritizing these strategies and committing to long-term engagement, societies can gradually dismantle this cultural barriers and transform mindsets, paving the way for genuine inclusivity and social cohesion. I when I was going through in depth about this particular topic, I came across this quote by Amelia Earhart, and I would like to share it with everybody. Women, like men, should try to do this impossible, and when they fail, their failure should be a challenge to others. So I think keeping that as a strong force in mind, we should keep on adapting, and we should, provide equal opportunities for career advancements and leadership roles, ensuring that women are not hindered by societal expectations or biases at the same time. So I believe that might have added some substance to the questions that have been posed to the chat box. Back to you, Mata. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I believe that the first question and the second one were touched on. Ma'am Maheen, is there anything that you'd like to add on to that?
Thank you, Matla. I think I would like to add just one point. The problem of why we are having a challenge, because the mindset people around us, it has to do with control. They like to keep things in their control. So those individuals who like to have that control, please understand that once you're going to leave the seat, you will be part of that particular set of people who are stuck with this cycle. And if you really want your offsprings and your generation to expand their wings and take responsibility and create a healthy, sustainable society, you need to bring inclusiveness. You have to start hearing things. We are having a problem because you're not trusting your line, you're not trusting even yourself, because if you're keeping yourself in a leadership position, and if you believe what you are training others would be benefited, if it's not happening, if you question yourself, that's why you're not giving the control. And we are having this problem because either the leaders today on ground or the one who are taking care as an elder, they're not letting us practice what we are learning from them. Maybe it's a problem of learning. Number two, or we are not ready to give other people charge. Maybe they have vulnerability or insecurity towards them. So it's more of like a mindset and psychology game, which I always feel around us. And somebody has to talk about it. Somebody has to tell that, this thing should end, and you should not question yourself or your practices, and we should change the ship. We should give, different dynamics a chance to make it a better place. There's always room for improvement and conversation, and we are missing that. We should definitely tap into that. Over to you, Mitla.
Thank you so much for that. That was well answered. I believe that our audience is also following, and they've been answered as well. There's a final question that we have here. It's on gender lens policy, that how can gender lens policy play a role for the promotion of inclusion?
Yes, Ms. Afreen.
Thank you, Mata. Talking about gender lens policy, it is very pivotal in promoting inclusion by systematically integrating gender considerations into all aspects of policy making we talk about, be it implementation or evaluation for that matter. Such policies are designed to identify and address disparities and barriers that hinder the full participation and advancement of women and other marginalized genders in society. Now, when we talk about gender lens policy, by adopting this policy, the policies can ensure that diverse perspectives are taken care of, they're taken into account, leading to more and giving more platforms for equitable outcomes at the same time. So this approach involves several key elements. If we keep all of them into consideration, talking about gender analysis and setting specific targets at the same time, and allocating resources and investments towards initiatives that are empowering women economically, socially, and most importantly, politically. Yes. So, moreover, promoting leadership and decision-making roles for women within the organizations and communities is like, stamping and reinforcing the importance of inclusive practice. So hence, overall, in a nutshell, if we summarize, gender lens policy not only fosters a more just and inclusive society, but also enhances overall economic growth and stability by harnessing the full potential of all individuals, regardless of gender. That's all. Thank you, Mata.
Thank you so much for that. Ms. Faiza, Ms. Snežana, I don't know if there's anything that you'd like to add on to that as well with regards to that question on gender lens policy.
May I say something on this? I remember in 2005 and 6, I was working on a project of UNDP. I had to train some writers, the textbook board writers, and at first I have to analyze all the books from class 4 to class 10 and analyze where there are some, in gender inequalities in those books. So allow me to use few typical words. A few, listeners can understand that. When I was understanding or analyzing those books, all the curriculum from, maths, science, English, social studies, history, the examples given in that books, they were like that. For example, the Banu, a girl started cooking, and the boy started going to watch match with the father. And there was a title, a caption of a lesson, Banu's home and Khalid's city. So Khalid can also have a home, and Banu can also have a city. For example, Banu's Pakistan and Khalid's home. Again, there were so many other things. For example, they were sitting. There was a poem which shows that the fish was caught by father, cut by brother, and it was cooked by mother. And continuously, it was shown in so many other books as well. And it was for the last 6-7 years, it was continued like that. Means the people sitting at the helm of affair, they are considering female for these type of jobs and male for these types of jobs. Female for the houses, male for the cities and the decision-making process. And the female for cleaning the house and male for deciding the fate of the city. So when I delivered the lecture and I talked to textbook board writers, they said, yes, it is all one side story. So trust me, we were successful in changing those norms, those values, what you call it, learning, de-learning and relearning. I think gender lens are highly essential. If you are not taking them into account, it means you are making half of the body incapable of, in the process of development. If I talk about Pakistan, so almost from 15 to 35 years of age, the youth is 62.8%. And if we talk about Balochistan, 39% most of the 39%, or some figures say that 43%, they are female. So if you are not considering gender land policy in talking about environment, education, health, building, real estate, you name anything, it means you are minusing or keeping your one half of the body lagging behind. So I think it is very essential for the socio-political, culture, economic development of the state to create every policy, to highlight every policy with gender lens. Over to you.
Thank you so much. That was very powerful, and I think it's something that is a lesson as well. You shared that example, which is an example that is also evident not just, I believe, in your country, in various countries as well. Miss Snežana, anything to add?
I have nothing to add at the moment. I really enjoyed what my colleagues had to say.
All right. Okay. I believe the questions, those are some of the questions that we had. And just to open the floor to our panelists for any last words. Miss Snežana, you can start.
Well, thank you again for opening up this topic. And yes, I liked what Maheen said at one moment, is something like we should stop kind of re-asking yourself what we can do more, or in a way of doubting, are we good enough for some job? Are we educated enough? Are we enough? So somehow I would like us women to think more about this, that we are enough, and the way we are, we deserve to have opportunities and to choose for how long we want to go and where we want to position ourselves in a way of education and jobs. And instead of doubting in ourselves, to look wider within the community and look for the people, especially men, who can be our, let's say, partners in crime. Did I say well? Yes. So look also for partners within community, and as Faiza said, think about the stakeholders and how can we channel the information and the knowledge, and how can we improve our collaboration to them. So that will be that for me, and thank you again.
Thank you so much. Miss Faiza, any last words? Okay. I'll open the floor to Miss Afreen Khan for any final words.
Thank you, Mata. So just to end this, to achieve a lasting impact, we must continue to prioritize the practices and implementing those practices and being the change and being the advocate of it. And most importantly, cultivating a culture of respect and acceptance at the same time. So when we do this, I guess we are already on the road of achieving our goals and aspiring what we want for our own selves and for the individual self. Much love. Thank you, Mata.
Thank you so much. Ma'am Maheen, do you have any final words?
Yes, I do. I have something to say, is that I improve with time by connecting with individuals who make sure I'm improving with time. So my circle, my networking, my collaboration is not just for the community, is for my betterment as well. I'm improving my quality and learning with time too. So as a woman, you have to choose people around you who can walk with you. In your professional life, in your personal life, it's really up to you. We become resilient because we three daughters, we got a father who was resilient. All right, we changed with the help of him, and we belong to the rural, remotest area of Pakistan. And if you have time, just Google it, Shimshal. You will know that we got road in late 90s. So when a father can change daughters like us into this, so any men out there, please lead your daughters, your sisters, your friends, and your colleague to be a better person with time, to improve with time. Same goes with one thing, that women supporting women is very important. So if you want to have a compete, if you want to challenge someone, you should challenge yourself and compete yourself with time. Every individual's journey is different. So for us, for this inclusivity, we really need women supporting women, understanding women, having that conversation, not taking other women as a challenge. So we need to change this shift, and please understand that the dynamic of life and dynamic of the need of professionalism is quite challenging. So you have to balance things out. You need to know, is your decision, is your step, is meaningful or not? And trust me, time flies by like anything. When I look, like few years back, I was in my 20s. Now I'm just crossing my 30s. So it's like, you need to know exactly what you're doing and how you're making example in the community. So know your chapter, know your journey, and make the most out of it. And please find individuals around you, surround yourself with healthy individuals. Pick organization which goes to your value, which respects your value. So every decision is in your hands. So if you're giving value towards the wrong part or wrong decision, so that means you're gonna stuck over there, and the cycle would be around that. You won't come out of it, and people will take wrong perception about the particular thing which you consider is wrong. You will not make that stand, the right stand. So please know your values, pick individuals who are good for you, pick organization which is good for you. Just do what is right, which doesn't compromise any value. And trust me, we can refine not just our life, but community around us as well. So this is my small message. That's it from my side. I guess I'm taking so much time. I'm quiet now.
Thank you so much, Ms. Faiza. I don't know if you have any final words, if you're able to connect to me.
Matla, I was about to say something, and the shift was changed to some other place. Actually, I was just asking the listeners, the one who raised question, that for diversification, you have to look inside your body. The lungs don't interfere kidney's job. The kidney don't interfere the heart operation, and the heart doesn't interfere eyes operation. They all are diversified within your body, within ourselves. But what collectively they work for the betterment of one body. If we have to develop a gender sensitive society, inclusive approach, I think the mothers have to develop good character of boys, because they are the boys who go outside. I'm talking about South Asian society. The boy whistle to the girls. The boy asks girls, should I give you lift? The boys teases, the boys tease the girl or the class fellow or the office worker, the co-worker. So at the end of the day, whenever I do work at my place, I ask my niece, if you are doing this thing, I ask my nephew to do the double job. because at the end of the day, we are from the South Asian society. Male are more outside of the home, so the female, when they go and have jobs, they walk by the roads, or they have to catch the buses or the Kareem, or some vehicles. It is the driver is always the male. So the female, the mothers, they have to train their boys like that. The society can be gender sensitive, inclusive, adaptability should be there, and respect of each other should be there. And the relationship of male female is not a relationship of competition, it is of compatibility. They go hand in hand, they go parallel, they support each other. But when there is the question of promotion, when there is question of fee, you know what? When I deliver lecture, I ask my students to watch movies for the acceptance of female or the male as the bread earner of the house. That is very difficult. And if my listeners, they can watch this movie, I will strongly recommend Ki and Ka from the Bollywood movie, that shows the inclusive approach of female, that how the gender sense lens are sensitive in the development of not only home but only for society as well.
All right, thank you so much for that. I would like to take this time to thank our wonderful speakers. It has been amazing, it has been insightful, and I believe that the audience has taken home a lot, just like I have. And as we conclude today's webinar, I encourage each and every one of us to take the insights and strategies that have been discussed here and apply them proactively in your respective workplaces. So thank you once again for your participation. Let's continue this journey towards a more inclusive future together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matla. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.